At my nice mug.
Oh, that's a very nice mug.
It's a Le Creuset mug.
Never buy a new mug. We saw an episode of the Flight of the Conchords, and they bought a new mug and went bankrupt.
All right. Well, welcome to Storytime 23, and I just want to mention that since it is 24 next time, that means that it will be Storytime's second birthday in the next episode. So we will try and make it a bit of a party time. So for our January Storytime, the topics were 3D printing, rabbits, gemstones, miniature things, the concept or metaphor of please fit your own oxygen mask first before helping others, safety instructions on planes, inscrutable instructions or signs, bad dates and mistaken or misunderstood arrangements, getting stuck on the hill in a car,
Should start on that picture.
the murder walk, weird descriptive terms used for flavours in wine, and under the table.
Oh, God. You couldn't have done them all.
There were a few others that I've left on the future list to carry on with, so at the end we'll review what's already sitting there, and we'll take a few more requests and I'll decide what goes into the birthday story time. To begin with, we've got a little poem on the theme of Under the Table, and it's called Under the Table. Chewing gum stuck down by sneaky, secretive fingers, discovered with no delight by gripping nervous knuckles at exam time. Carved initials in fine compass lines, stories of schoolyard romances, vendettas and slipped secrets. Crayon claims to ownership, cave paintings on the wood grain, ancient guardians of the fort watching over life at knee level, wearing their sticker medallions. Lost threads and purposes, pins and scratches and scuffs, games of house and store, pets places and messes, single shoes and missing socks. Under the table, palace or hiding place, memories are marked and lay in wait.
Yes, very good. All of those things sound familiar.
You've got some of those things under your tables.
There's a table actually here that was at Ash's house when they were all kids, and it's got all sorts of little things drawn all over it, and messages and little like animal faces and everything. Yeah, you know the one that we used to play D&D on. And then we would write D&D notes on the table.
Because it already had things written on it. So
yeah, so it's still got all these like little D&D notes and everything. Yep.
Wonderful. So today's story is called Please Print Your Own Rabbit First Before Helping Others. It was just before takeoff on her flight back from Melbourne that Jade decided to reactivate her Tinder app. The safety video was playing, and the airline staff were waving their arms in the aisle and smiling like mannequins to match. Jade was trying to decide on the merits of going on a date with a guy named Carter, who she'd known in high school. On the one hand, Jade didn't really like the idea of meeting complete strangers, thus her tentative use of the app in the past, and Carter was at least somewhat familiar. On the other hand, Carter's known characteristics from school were that he really liked marshmallows, and his favourite animal was rabbits. Jade's favourite animal was rabbits too, but it didn't seem like much to go on. If your phone falls between the seats, please do not move the seat. Call a member of airline staff to help, said the safety video. It was probably time to switch off, Jade thought. Carter could wait. She flicked the screen to close the app a little too forcefully, lost her grip on the phone, and dropped it between the seats. Oh, crap. She looked sideways at the nearest staff member in the aisle. Had they seen that? If they retrieved her phone for her now, they would see Tinder open, with Carter on the screen. Jade cautiously leaned forward. Luckily, just at that moment, the safety video moved on to the brace position. It seemed to Jade that the seat in front, cramped close to her as it was, would be too far away to lean against firmly. She put her arms up experimentally and leaned down, quickly peering below the seat for her phone as she did so. There was a clunk, and the tray table unlatched itself and fell open on top of Jade's head. No, 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 tutted an air hostess, appearing from behind, so that Jade could just see her beige-heeled shoes. Please do not go under the table. Tray table away. She reached in and swiftly clipped the table back into position. Jade wiggled and struggled to get properly back into her seat and avoid falling forwards onto her head. I think my phone might have fallen under there somewhere, she reported with reluctance. The young woman sighed and peered under the seats. Surfy type, she commented, with an air of approval as she returned the device. Jade cringed and put it away. At this juncture, the safety video had progressed to discussing the delightful subject of oxygen masks. Please fit your own mask first, before helping others, it intoned. Jade reflected for the umpteenth time on what a good metaphor this was for life. She would need to remember this in moving back, to allow herself to see, to settle, and to find her new routine and be ready before she began trying to see everyone and be part of their plans and problems. One day later, Jade was waiting by the sushi train for Carter, who she had accidentally sent a thumbs up when she took her phone back from the air hostess. If she'd known he was going to be 20 minutes late, she would have corrected the misunderstanding, she thought, glaring at the full-looking seats in round the sushi bar. She'd dressed very nicely for this lunch out, and had been hoping for a quiet cafe where she could size Carter up. It had been difficult to choose her outfit, since the venue was a surprise, but you couldn't go too far wrong with dressing up to eat out, surely. There was a ping from her pocket. Carter had sent a question mark. What? How rude. He could at least explain what the problem was. Ping. I'm at the sushi train. Are you close by? Jane shook her head and glanced around. No, you're not. I'm at the sushi train, and there's no sign of you. Where are you? Carter was typing. Then he stopped. Then typing again. For heaven's sake, muttered Jade. If you don't want to come, then just say so. Typing again. Stopped. Typing again. Definitely outside the sushi train, facing West Pac Bank. What do you see opposite? Maybe you're round back. Huh? Jade looked around in consternation. There was definitely no Westpac. Oh my god, are there 2 sushi trains on this street? She made her way over to a helpful-looking interactive map set up and tapped the screen. A message popped up. Please enter your query. Jade looked at it. How? She said out loud. There was no keypad or alphabet visible on the screen. In fact, where? There didn't appear to be a search box either. Jade turned away from the map in disgust and looked at her phone. There was another message from Carter. Oh, crap. Yeah. There are 2 sushi trains. Can you walk towards Myers? The place I'm trying to take you is near this one. Jade fumed. After half an hour of waiting for him, because he wasn't clear about where to meet, she was the one who had to go looking for him. Which way is that? I don't know where the Myers is. Wasn't here before I went to Melbourne. Typing. South? Maybe? I think... Actually, can you just look it up on Google Maps?
Oh.
By the time Jade spotted Carter outside the other sushi train, she could feel herself doing the murder walk. You know. Like how assassins on a mission walk in movies. She'd worn some very nice, but very impractical shoes, and was now both hungry and sore. She tried to slow down and smile. It was no good starting the date looking like she was going to stab him. Hello. She tried not to sweat on Carter as she gave him a brief hug. I'm sort of glad we're not actually going to the sushi train. It was so crowded in the one I was near. Carter grinned. Not to worry, we're not going there. We're going to a little cafe I know. Oh, perfect. Jade smiled. Maybe this was going to be nice after all. It's a rabbit cafe, Carter added. What? Jade blinked. Oh, right, like where there are loads of rabbits you can pat and stuff. Yeah, I figured we both love rabbits, so... Of course, yeah. That's a really nice thought, Carter. Jade groaned inwardly. She was definitely not dressed for sitting on the floor cuddling animals. The rabbits were very cute, though, and Jade found herself ignoring the rabbit droppings sticking to her tights, as they shared what was actually a very good tapas platter and wine. So, what's new with you since high school? She asked. Carter bounced about. Well, I'm really excited today, because guess what I just got at my new flat? Jade shrugged. I think this will probably go best if you just tell me. A 3D printer. Now I can make literally anything. Jade laughed. I think that might be a bit of an exaggeration, literally anything. Carter looked a bit offended. Why? He asked. Jade gave him a quizzical look, wondering if Carter had had a bit more wine than her. Well, you can't make, like, plants or animals or gemstones or alcoholic beverages, can you? Carter considered. I could try making some fake gemstones. Jade shook her head firmly. No way. I collect gemstones, and I know. She got out her piece of jade that she always carried in her purse. See, you couldn't make a surface like this on a piece of plastic. Carter took it out of her hand and turned it over and over. Challenge accepted. Jade rolled her eyes. Whatever, I doubt it. You definitely can't grow plants or pets on it, though. I can make miniature pretend ones, Carter countered. Yeah, but that's not the same. To Jade's horror, Carter suddenly looked teary. No, it isn't the same. He put his face into the fur of the rabbit he was cuddling. Sorry, said Jade. Did I say something wrong? Carter snotted on the rabbit and proceeded to try to wipe it off with his shirt. Sorry, I was thinking about my pet rabbit that died. It was very sad. Oh dear, a morose drunk. Oh, I'm sorry, that would have been sad. Was it very recently? No, when I was 10. Carter lay down on the floor, nearly squashing a passing rabbit, and then went under the table. Fit your own oxygen mask first, thought Jade, determined. I need cheesecake, she said. Maybe cheesecake would help you too. She got up and went to the counter. After the cheesecake, Carter perked up a bit and told Jade about 15 different things he'd bought 3D printing designs for. So, have you actually printed anything yet? Jade asked tentatively. No, replied Carter. I have to build my IKEA desk first, and I've been procrastinating. Before they could leave, Carter insisted on trying another wine. Jade abstained, thinking about getting home safely. Carter made a big show of holding the wine to the light and smelling it like a proper connoisseur. Then he looked at Jade and said, a touch of sweaty saddle, perhaps. Jade took immediate offence at what seemed like a very crude comment. Excuse me? Carter looked at her like she was very stupid. It's a flavour description. Try it, you'll see. Jade declined. It didn't sound like a very pleasant flavour, if that's what it was. When they finally put down all the rabbits and stood up, Carter patted himself all over. Oh, crap, he sighed. I think I've lost my wallet.
Oh.
Carter looked around, in the toilets, and under all the rabbits, while Jade paid for both their lunches and Carter's extra wine. The wallet was not forthcoming in the search. Jade marched Carter out through the side door, which for some unexplained reason bore the notice, "Anyone caught exiting through this door will be asked to leave." Jade didn't trust Carter to make his own way on the train, so she offered to drive him home. Actually, said Carter, I'm meant to hang out with my friends tonight at their house. Could you take me there instead? Jade did an internal eye roll, but she didn't need to be anywhere tonight, so she said, Okay, where is it? I think I can direct you, said Carter. After half an hour of twists and turns, which gave Jade limited confidence in Carter's knowledge of the location, they came to the base of a very steep hill. Okay, Carter announced, it's just about halfway up this massive hill. Jade put the car into first gear and gritted her teeth. Right, well you better shout when we're coming up to the driveway or I'll miss it. She accelerated. They zoomed up a third of the way in first, engine whining. Okay, just after the Stoby pole. Which Stoby pole? By the red bin. Carter, they all have the bins out. The next one. Jade braked and went to turn in. Oh, no, actually, 2 more up. Carter! Jade tried to steer and accelerate onward up the hill. The wheels spun. The car went nowhere. Now we're stuck, yelled Jade. She panicked for a moment, the scent of burning rubber wafting in the windows. The owner of the house, outside which this commotion was occurring, appeared at their door. Just turn in, they yelled, waving at the driveway. Jade gratefully did. You can walk up the last bit, she told a suitably embarrassed Carter. Finally home, at her new unit, Jade sat at her kitchen table with a cup of peppermint tea, toying with her gemstone collection. It had certainly been a very memorable date. And Carter wasn't a bad sort, just very unfortunate. The question, she thought, holding her Savorite to the light, was whether he was too needy for her right now. Was her oxygen mask sufficiently on to go on a second date with someone who lost his valuables, had no sense of direction, and cried on rabbits about rabbits? Perhaps having a bit of a pamper evening would help reveal the answer. She had a clay facial cleansing mask she'd bought ages ago and never tried. Jade brewed some more tea, found a movie on Netflix, and dug out the box with the clay mask in it from her half-unpacked bag. She took the tub out of the box and pulled out the instruction sheet, unfolding it on the bed. After facial makeup, before the state, take appropriate mask evenly to the face. What? Asked Jade aloud of the empty room. What state? She read on, hoping it would become clearer. Do not apply thick layer of cream is slightly thicker than the thickness of a little bit on it. Jade sighed. Poorly translated for sure, but presumably it meant she would apply a thin layer. Painted above 5 minutes until bubbles start to bubble up to the most risk to the peak time. Okay, never mind. This was starting to sound as if her face would break out in boils. Jade put the tub in the bin and got out some deep moisturizing cream instead. Meanwhile, Carter was trying hard to make progress on his 3D printed gemstone challenge. He had found a pattern for some gem-shaped pieces and a spool of green printing material. If he could just file, polish and coat the models just right, perhaps he could make a surprise for Jade. Not having worked up the courage to look at the IKEA desk building instructions, Carter had set the printer up on the floor, using one of the larger wooden panels out of the kit to build his dining table as a flat surface underneath. He peered at the printing design. The measurement along one side said 3. Carter frowned. 3 what? Centimetres probably. Hopefully. 15 minutes later, Carter had managed to make a small spaghetti monster. Probably the problem was his floor table. The surface just wasn't stable enough. He took a picture and sent it to Jade. If you come help me build my desk, can I make you dinner tomorrow? Jade thought it was much too soon to meet again, but she hadn't finished stocking her fridge, so she agreed. When Jade arrived, Carter was yelling at the 3D printer. Upon investigation, this was because he was trying to print her a miniature rabbit, but had reattempted floor printing, and thus what had started out reasonably rabbit-shaped was rapidly growing tentacles for a head. How about we build the desk first, then try to make a rabbit, Jade suggested sensibly. Just then, she noticed rustling from the bedroom. Is someone else here? Carter opened his mouth to answer, just as an older woman and man appeared out of the bedroom door, carrying a heavy-looking crate between them. Hello, said the woman, beaming. You must be Jade. Jade, meet Mum and Dad, Carter announced. They've been putting up my blinds for me. I only moved in a while ago. Don't mind us, Carter's dad told Jade. We'll just be going in and out, taking some things to the car. Jade looked carefully blank, trying not to laugh. Lovely to meet you both, she said politely. She didn't add, on the second date, without warning, though she was sorely tempted. The instructions for the desk assembly really were a two-person task to understand, and Jade had to admit respect for Carter's decision to ask for assistance. There were parts of the diagrams that seemed to be optical illusions, making it almost impossible to tell which side the screws should go in from and where they should come out. After a lot of trial and error, Carter and Jade finally found themselves sitting underneath something which resembled a table. Why are we under it? Asked Carter. Jade shrugged and they laughed. Feels like a cubby house, Jade commented. My sister and I used to use the table as our house in games all the time. I'm pretty sure the table I've just got from Dad still has our smuggler's code written on the underside of it. Carter smiled. Oh yeah, my sister Ella used to go under the table if it was too loud in the kitchen. She has this thing with sound, and I think the tablecloth muffled things a bit or something. Anyway, Then we started to have this game where I would try to sneak under there silently and draw a mark on the floor without her noticing. But she always heard me coming. Jade chuckled. Funny places, the underside of tables. Tell me, Carter, are you planning to go under a table on every date? Once the desk was complete, Jade helped Carter do a more permanent job of setting up the 3D printer. And together they made some sense of the rabbit design between assembling layers of lasagna. Jade held the completed miniature rabbit proudly on the palm of her hand. "This one is mine," she announced. "I made my own rabbit first, before helping others." Carter wasn't sure what this was about, but he nodded. "The lasagna smells ready. Shall I open the wine?" "Only if you promise to stay off the floor this time," Jade smirked. Just then, there was a tap on the doorframe, and Carter's father appeared. "Our car won't start. Can we crash the entree?" After the RAA had been, and Carter's parents were safely on the road, Jade folded her arms and looked at Carter. "Right. So our first 2 dates, I'm sure we can agree, have been pretty terrible." Carter looked morose. "The first one wasn't so bad." "Carter, we took nearly an hour to find each other. You got drunk and put snot on a rabbit and went under a cafe table. Then you couldn't find your wallet, so I had to pay for the lunch you booked. And after that, you gave directions that resulted in me losing half my tires in front of your friend's neighbours." Carter hung his head. "I see what you mean." "So, I propose we give us dating one final shot before declaring failure. I will organise dinner at my house, on the table, without parents, and you just get yourself there at 6 next Sunday and bring wine. You seem to be good with wine." Carter nodded solemnly. And so, the following week, Jade found herself attempting to follow a recipe which contained many terms such as bind, blanch, and skim, which she was not altogether familiar with, and measurements like smidgen, which she wasn't sure was a measurement at all. Her beef Wellington smelt and tasted good, but was sure to look like a disaster on a plate. When the doorbell rang, to her great surprise at 6 on the dot, Jade opened the door to find a beaming Carter with a very fluffy grey and white lop-eared rabbit in his arms. "I got a new friend," Carter announced, happily. "This is Greg." "Greg, this is Jade." Jade stroked Greg. "He's not really supposed to be in here," she worried. "It's okay," Carter assured her. "He's trained to use a litter tray and he doesn't chew much." He promptly produced a range of rabbit paraphernalia from his backpack and set Greg up in a corner of Jade's kitchen. After the meal, while they half-watched a movie, Jade tried to teach Carter a little about rare gemstones and why they would be so hard to imitate in plastic. Greg, however, had other ideas. Seeming convinced that the stones were treats for his consumption, or toys, he leapt up onto the couch between Jade and Carter and buffeted the box with his snout, sending gemstones flying in all directions. Hurriedly, Jade and Carter chased about after Greg, scooping up stones before he could attempt to eat any. For those that had fallen in piles, Jade used the dustpan, carefully, spread the stones out on the sink to clean, and placed the dustpan down in a corner. Then she checked over the collection. "Oh no! Carter! Your rabbit has managed to lose or eat my muscovite." Carter looked crestfallen. Jade had made very clear how special the muscovite was, with its beautiful shell-like shapes. "Are we declaring failure then?" he asked mournfully. "Let's have have a think about it, Jade told him. Fit our own oxygen masks first, so to speak, and then see. She remembered that moment as clearly now as if she was still in it, as she bumped the dining table and saw, 3 years later, there, beneath one of the feet, the sheen of her muscovite. She'd been watching Carter's sad eyes that day, when an odd sound made her turn to see Greg, sitting in her dustpan. The smell had alerted her to the contents. "Now he's weeing in my dustpan," she'd bellowed. Really not what you did on the 3rd date. But sometimes you don't so much fit your own oxygen mask first as fit each other's at the same time. And against the rules though this might seem, it can have the same outcome. Now, Jade scooped up the muscovite from among the dust at the table's foot and returned it to her gemstone box, which sat on the mantelpiece, surrounded by rows of miniature 3D printer creations of all shapes and sizes. One for every unusual and often ill-fated date with Carter McInnes.
Very nice.
Ah, yes, here's the 3D printed bunny. Oh, it's very nice. Do some requests.
I think you could have something to do with postage.
Postage.
Oh, yeah.
And also wrapping unusual shaped things.
But the other thing about the post thing, Sarah, is that crazy thing they do when you're not home. And they take it somewhere else.
Yeah,
And
that's
then you
nice.
Sometimes they take it somewhere, like,
Oh,
your
yes.
local place.
Ah, I have a story about this actually.
Good.
So it's not even very funny. It's just kind of annoying. But it might be, you might be able to make something funny out of it.
Yeah.
So for Christmas, I got Ash a fancy like hard case suitcase, like a carry-on luggage size one. And I'd ordered it, and it was going to have this like her initials monogrammed on it and everything. And I'd ordered it, and it said, right, it's going to take a little while. It'll probably arrive after Christmas. I thought, okay, that's fine. Never mind. And then I was out of the house on Christmas Eve, and I had walked to the shops. So that takes like 40 minutes or something to walk to the shops. And I was at the shops, and I got a message saying, your package is arriving today. Now, hope you're home. It's on its way to you. And I was like, no, I'm not at all at home, and I can't be home for another 40 minutes. And so I actually bravely called the courier company, and I said, I got this message, and it's on its way with a courier, but I'm not at home. Can it just go straight to the post office? Because the post office is right near where I am. I'm basically at the post office. So can it just be sent straight to the post office? And the person was going, oh, no, we can't do that. No, I'm afraid we can't do that. Going, okay, why not? And they're going, oh, well, we can't contact the courier. Okay, can I contact the courier? No, you can't. You'll just have to let it go, and then in 5 days time after Christmas, you can use the code that you get on the little card that they will leave you to organize on the internet a new time for it to be delivered. And they'll just hold on to it until then. And so that was all very ridiculous. And then I got home, and an hour later, the courier turned up and was like, here's your package. So it all worked out fine. But it was just this ridiculous thing where I was like, I'm right next to the post office, but I can't be next to my house. Could you just take it to the post office? So
very
silly.
annoying. And we had enormous confusion with the mushroom parcel.
Oh, yeah.
We did get it in the end, so it's okay. Anyway,
you did get it, yes. That's good.
I was tell you, he's going to get his mushrooms to show you.
Yay! Yes, I want to see the mushrooms.
I see the mushroom.
Here they come.
Oh, so cool! Oh, that's so good. They're beautiful.
Oh, on that note, how about ghost mushrooms?
Ghost mushrooms?
Are they the glowing ones?
Yes, the glowing one.
Yeah.
That sounds like mysterious. Interesting.
Look them up. They glow.
What about Sarah? Unusual uses for cutlery. As I get out these knives, these are the ones that I
Oh
have
my goodness.
for like screwdrivers and
Yep.
open jars and things like that. It's the set that we normally. Nearly every knife has sort of got a bit of a bend to it, you know. Yeah, and women.
Yes.
Women
I have several like spoons and knives and things, that cutlery, because at some point they were used for a thing. Like I have one knife that was used to try and get masking tape off of wood, so it's like got this kind of sticky residue that will never come off, so now that's the masking tape knife. And then I have a spoon that I used for candle making, so I don't want to risk using it for food, so that's the candle making spoon. Yeah, the masking tape one. Yep.
Oh dear, wow. That
Oh
one's
my
amazing.
gosh.
This is the Grattan Street spoon.
Oh my goodness.
Was this in the garden?
But you're not responsible for that.
Oh my goodness.
It's one of Grandma's digging spoons, maybe?
Well,
Trowel spoons that she had?
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
Things that are on the ongoing list at the moment. We actually did the getting stuck on a hill in a car. I was very proud of managing to squeeze that in.
Yes.
But we've still got small and far away on there, surprisingly, given
Oh,
that we
yeah.
had lots of small things. And stuff
Small?
in the story. I couldn't quite get the small and far away in, so that's on the list.
Quite close.
Things you're surprised you've still got. Mascot school and its effects. The
Oh,
fruit
yes.
devil, that was that weird implement we saw. The use of capitalization for things.
Yes.
I have put this in a few stories, but only briefly. Like all the things and the shelf and stuff that is meant to refer to something.
I felt like going under the table had a bit of that about it. Like
Yes, it did.
seemed like something that should be
It did seem
capitalized.
like something that
Yes.
should be capitalized.
And
Definitely.
he went under the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one that's still ongoing
Yeah.
is the scare children in the eco village, which
Yeah.
Claire added a while ago
this is a Winnie the
when she
Pooh
first
thing.
saw them. And we did have a thing with the gnomes in the later story that was meant to be kind of related to the scare children, but I think I can probably make more.
Oh right. Yes.
Yeah.
Scare children. Oh my goodness. Does everyone know what the scare children are? Probably not. I don't know that the Fletchers know about the scare children. So, at where I live, on the end of our street, there are these sculptures, I guess you could call them, of children, but they're made out of like foam and old kids' clothes. And there originally was one on a bike, and it was on the end of the street, and the purpose of it was to make people slow down, because they would think there was a kid on a bike about to like come out onto the road. So it was intended to frighten people, to get them to slow down. And it did do that, but it was also just scary, and it became more scary as it sat out in the weather, and the eyes kind of like disappeared and the face all like ran. And then it's sort of become this whole saga where they added another one, and they put the previous one like in a tree with its arms up like this, and then now there's a third one, and it's very strange.
Right, so we've got postage and unusual shaped packages, what's done with missed deliveries, ghost mushrooms, unusual uses for cutlery, indoor gardening fails, and whatever the thing was that Lloyd said that he can't remember now, and I can't remember either. Are there any other...
Well, I still like M's do it to the dam, you know, like
Yeah, I think evolving sculpture.
Evolving sculptures, okay, yeah.
4D sculptures.
4D sculptures.
Yeah, there's this new sexy
Where
thing.
time is an element.
Yeah, there's this new sexy thing in 3D printing where you 4D print something, but it doesn't actually evolve in time. It's just a water-sensitive material that morphs when it absorbs the water. So it's 4D printing. It's the latest
Yeah.
sexy thing in
Appears to
engineering.
change
Yeah.
over time. Your sculpture appears to change.
Yeah.
What about Cats with 9 Lives? Because Lucky has just
Oh.
recently got himself into trouble again.
Has he?
Oh no.
The thing is, he's got a clock in his head. He works it out. Like,
When it's a public
when's the
holiday.
next long weekend? When's
Yeah.
the next public holiday? Oh, it's Easter. I better get run over.
He's not very lucky, is he?
No.
He's not lucky. He's only lucky in the sense that he survives all these things somehow.
There you go. There's one.
True.
Ironic names.
Ironic names. Oh, I like that.
Yes.
No,
No, that's good.
You got another one?
Can you include Shut Darling?
Shut, darling.
And Shut Darling, in the sense of, you know, something that you really want to go to and it's closed.
Yeah.
I do have a request. So I went to an exhibition in Melbourne that was all about Japanese supernatural things and like Japanese ghosts and demons and stuff. And they were talking about like how a lot of Japanese demons are based on really mundane things. So like household objects being sort of spirits and things. So they have, you know, like the umbrella demon and the demon that is, you know, the box that sits on the cupboard and things like that. So like something like that where like an object in the house is either thought to be like possessed or a ghost or a spirit or something like that. But it's like something really mundane.
Okay. Okay, so that seems like a good list. Okay, so it will be the 8th. And it will be our second birthday celebration, as well as Lloyd's birthday, sort of. So that'll be fun.
Do you want us to do anything special for birthday? Like, do you want us to make sure we have cake, or do you want us to, I don't know, do any kind of tasks or dress up or something?
Yes. So we did have an idea a while ago, and I don't know how easy it will be for people to think about in a month, but we did have the idea of suggesting dressing up as past characters that you've enjoyed from the stories.
Oh, you can't come in a giraffe onesie on February.
Yeah, it might be a bit hot for a giraffe onesie. I don't know. It could be like a light linen giraffe onesie. Just get like some giraffe print and like really light cotton.
Yeah.
Dress up as characters, and definitely have cake for birthday, and maybe we can do some candles or sparklers, and we can sing happy birthday to me.
You can have a rabbit.
Skip the rabbit.
You could have you could be the 3D rabbit, or you could be the first attempt with the spaghetti.
I should just
like,
bring
have a toy
Thistle.
rabbit. Yeah, just
I could just bring Thistle
say,
and then like draw tears and like.
and here's my Greg. Yeah, I was really considering like being one of the old ladies from later. Like, find like a twin set and stuff and be knitting.
Yes.
With a twin set and we'll be old ladies.
That sounds great. Yes.
There has to be 3 of you because there has to be Betty, Barb,
That's true.
and Bryn. Yes. Anyway, we'll have a bit
That
of discussion
sounds very
of
good.
What some possibilities are. I might do a bit of a character list because I do have one. So of what characters there have been in Storytime up until this point. It'll be pretty extensive.
So we can read through our hard copies there
Yes, you can look in your hard copies.
of the first 12 stories.
Yes. The old ladies are fun. Well, because of course you can dress up in your LARPing gear. as well. You know,
Yes,
you can be knitting
oh my
and you can have your twin set, but you might have a cloak on over the top or something.
Yes, that'd be so good.
I think that's quite that it's nearly like Lord's birthday because it can kind of be a birthday thing as well.
It could be kind of themed around birthdays as well.
Oh yeah.
I might try and include birthdays as a topic, and have things in the story that go along with it being a birthday.
Or include celebrations generally, since it's your second year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and significant numbers.
Yeah.
Like 30.
Ah. Yes. Significant numbers. And interesting. It's interesting. Like, why do we consider certain numbers to be the significant numbers?
What if you miss your birthday because you go the other way?
Oh, like if you were flying on your birthday and you arrived
Yeah.
somewhere where you lose a day.
Yeah. Yeah, does that mean you don't turn any older?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like that. It was never your birthday, so obviously you're still the same age. I like the idea of a person who does that every year on purpose. Like the kind of person who's so horrified by the idea of turning a year older that every year they make sure they're flying so that their birthday never happens.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna switch off the recording. I think we've done with requests and things. So bye to people watching, and we will see you next time for a birthday celebration or for Storytime and
Yay!
in general.
Hey,